You know that feeling when the air changes before a storm? When the sky's still blue, birds chirping, everything looks fine, but your gut's already packing sandbags. That was me at 7:12 a.m., standing in the kitchen, sipping burnt coffee, staring at my wife's laptop. Her name's Rebecca. She was still upstairs, blow-drying betrayal into her curls. Her big client pitch day. You know the type. Heels sharp enough to slice egos. Lip gloss that said, married but open to networking. The thing about betrayal? It doesn't come in like a wrecking ball. It sneaks in barefoot. Like how she started calling me dude instead of babe. Or how her phone suddenly needed a privacy screen like she was handling state secrets. That morning, fate did me a favor. Hey, she called from the stairs. Mind if I take your laptop today? Mine's acting weird. And here's where it got interesting. I'd already packed my bag for work. But in her rush, she left hers on the counter. Still open. Still humming. And Zoom? Oh, Zoom was open too, just minimized, like a guilty conscience. I clicked. There it was. A scheduled meeting. Today, 11:15 a.m. The name? Weekly Sync, JB. Huh, JB. She once told me her boss was named Jasmine, and Jasmine never scheduled Zoom calls under her initials. Plus, this wasn't on her work calendar. It was on her personal Zoom, something she swore she didn't use anymore. And right then, I felt it. This was the storm. But I didn't rage. I didn't accuse. I just smiled. I took her laptop with me to work. Didn't say a word. Didn't ask. Just kissed her cheek and said, crush the pitch. And oh, she would crush something today. Now, my office has one luxury: soundproof glass and privacy. At 11:10 a.m., I placed the laptop on my desk, opened it, and waited. At 11:13, the screen lit up. A man appeared. Not just any man. Young. Cocky. A jawline that probably had its own gym membership. He smiled like he knew the room. My room. My wife. Then his smile faded. Rebecca, he whispered. I didn't say a thing. I clicked join with audio, then hit mute on my mic and speakers. Because this wasn't about talking. This was about listening. He looked confused. Checked his watch. You said 11:15. He was early. So was I? He leaned closer, looked around like a man peeking through a window. Babe. That's when I knew. He didn't think this was a mistake. He thought it was a date. And right there, in my office chair, I met the guy who thought he was sneaking into my life like a raccoon through the back door. He didn't know I was watching. He didn't know the camera was live. And he sure didn't know I was the one who would soon rewrite the script of their little daytime drama. By noon, I'd heard enough. The mic picked up faint background noise, my wife's voice in our house, on a call, telling someone she'd be free soon. Her tone had the warmth of champagne and sin. I didn't close the laptop. I drove it home, walked upstairs, and gently placed the still open laptop on our bed. Camera facing the door, microphone on, screen awake. Like a hunter setting bait. Then I left the house. The next move was hers. But the game? That was mine. I parked 3 houses down. Engine off. Windows cracked. Just me, the breeze, and a protein bar I didn't even eat. I wasn't hungry. I was curious. Because curiosity doesn't kill cats. It just exposes liars. Through the app on my phone, I tapped into the laptop's Zoom stream. The one I'd left politely humming on our bed. It was still connected. Still recording. Still wide open like her commitment to our vows. At exactly 12:04 p.m., I saw her walk into the bedroom. Her heels clicked against the hardwood like applause in a courtroom. She had that fake happy, flirty voice on. The one she usually reserved for waiters and job interviews. I couldn't hear the other guy yet, but she laughed like she already saw him. And then, just before she sat on the edge of the bed, "Are we alone?" she said. That sentence. Let me tell you, innocent people don't ask that. FBI agents and guilty spouses do. The camera caught her from the waist up. Just enough. Just enough to hear her sigh and murmur. God, I hate pretending with him. I swear, he thinks I'm still figuring things out. Like, dude, the only thing I'm figuring out is how to fake being tired every night. I smiled in my car. Not because it didn't hurt, it did. But because I was listening to a woman unmake herself in real time. And I didn't have to do a thing. Wait, she paused, frowning. Did you mute your mic? I can't hear you. The other guy must have been talking. She leaned closer to the laptop. Jason? Babe. Then her eyes narrowed. Because the screen wasn't showing Jason anymore. It was showing her. A live preview of herself. Alone. talking to a screen she thought was safe. And that's when it clicked for her. You could see the shift in her face. The kind of shift that happens when someone remembers they left the oven on or said something unforgivable at a wedding. Her hand reached out. Wait. No. She clicked a few times. Froze. I watched her close the laptop like it burned her. But not before I saw her mouth form the word. No. No what? No way I figured it out? No chance I'd set the trap? Or no hope left for her to weasel out of this? Either way, I had what I needed. Audio, video, and the kind of confession that lawyers don't even have to request in court. It was gift-wrapped. I didn't text her. I didn't call. I went back to work. Finished my reports. Ate that protein bar. Took a walk around the building like it was any other Tuesday. Because panic is loud. But power? Power is quiet. Most guys would have confronted her right then. Screamed. Demanded answers. Made a mess. I'm not most guys. I believe in documentation. That night, she acted normal. As if she hadn't outed herself to a camera in HD. As if she didn't realize I'd had front row seats to her lunch meeting. She made spaghetti. She only does that when she feels guilty. It's her peace offering pasta. I walked in, loosened my tie, kissed her cheek. You smell good, she said. Thanks, I replied. Long day. Hungry. I didn't blink. Didn't flinch. Just sat down and ate betrayal over angel hair noodles. While she talked about work, I watched her eyes. She kept scanning my face like she was looking for clues. Did I know? Was I acting weird? No, sweetheart. This wasn't me acting weird. This was me setting the table. After dinner, I said I needed to stay up late to finish a presentation. She nodded like that was normal. It wasn't. I never bring work home. But that night, I did bring something home. A USB drive the size of a secret and a folder labeled Zoom Incident Final Draft. Inside, the Zoom recording, uncut. Screenshots of her whispering sweet treason into her webcam. A transcript I made, because yes, I transcribed it. Word for word. And a copy of our marriage certificate. Just because irony likes company. I stored it all on 2 drives. One I kept. The other went to my lawyer the next morning. His name's Grant. He's 6 feet 2 inches, wears suits that could file restraining orders on their own, and has a handshake like a tax audit. He didn't ask many questions. Just looked at the evidence, then at me, and said, Damn, you want scorched earth? I smiled. No, I want legal air support. He nodded slowly. And her. I want her to hear about it from the only man she didn't cheat on. By Thursday, the gears were turning. Accounts frozen. A discreet separation petition filed under emotional misconduct and breach of trust. Nothing public, yet. Because I wasn't rushing. You don't ruin a liar by yelling. You ruin a liar by being calm while they spiral. And she was spiraling. Her phone buzzed more than usual. Probably Jason ghosting her, or panicking that the mic had caught more than just words. She asked me twice that night if I was okay. Told me I'd seemed distant. You sure we're good? She asked. I looked at her, steady as stone. Never better. And I meant it. People think revenge is a gunshot or a scream or some dramatic soap opera slap that echoes off marble floors. Nah, that's amateur hour. Revenge is invitations. White cardstock, gold trim, sent with care to 10 of our closest friends. Her work colleagues. 2 couples from the gym. My sister. Even her cousin, the one who always thought I was too quiet to be exciting. Dinner party. Saturday. Dress code, classy. Tone, civil. Theme, new beginnings. Rebecca was thrilled. Oh my God, this is so sweet, she said when she saw the invites. After everything, I feel like this is exactly what we need. You ever watch someone light their own fuse and thank you for the match? She picked the wine, decorated the table, lit the candles, even ironed my shirt for me, humming some upbeat nothing song, like she hadn't been caught red-handed 72 hours earlier. And me? I played the part, smiled, flattered her dress, kissed her forehead. I was the ghost of a man she thought she still had. 7:03 p.m. The doorbell rang. First to arrive, Trevor and Lacey, the gym couple. Trevor always had arms like pythons and a vocabulary like a brick. Bro, the spread looks killer, he said, dapping me up. One by one, they arrived. Laughs, coats, compliments. Rebecca floated around the room like the hostess of the year. She poured wine, refilled glasses, touched shoulders with that practiced affection she gave strangers and mirrors. At the head of the table, I stood up. Before we eat, I said, tapping my glass, I just want to say how grateful I am. Rebecca and we've been doing some soul-searching lately. You know how relationships go. She smiled nervously, a flicker of confusion flashing across her face. We've been talking about transparency, truth, trust. So tonight's dinner is actually a toast to honesty. Polite applause. Her smile froze. I pulled a small black remote from my pocket. Pressed play. The flat screen in the living room flickered on. Sound up. Volume crisp. Are we alone? Her voice, clear as water. There she was on screen, sitting on our bed, brushing her hair behind her ear with that same smug confidence she wore like perfume. The room fell silent. Every single person turned. Rebecca shot to her feet. What the hell is this? Transparency, I said. You wanted honesty, babe. She lunged for the remote. I stepped back. On screen, she kept talking. God, I hate pretending with him. I swear, he thinks I'm still figuring things out. Gasps. Someone coughed. Lacey dropped her fork. Stop it, she hissed. Turn it off. No, I said. Calm. Measured. You don't get to control the narrative tonight. Trevor blinked. Yo, is this live? It was, I said. Earlier this week. She left Zoom on. Just a little oopsie. Rebecca turned red, then pale, then some color science hasn't named yet. Jason, someone muttered. She whipped around. It's not what it looks like. On screen. He's the kind of man who folds his socks. That's who I married. A few people laughed. Couldn't help it. That line was just too much. Rebecca turned to me, fury building like a dam cracking. You planned this. You sick. I hosted a dinner, I said, raising my wine. You provided the content. She reached down, yanked the plug from the TV. Silence. She stood there, breathing hard, shaking. You really think this makes you look like the bigger person? No, I said. I think it makes you look exactly like you are. I just gave you an audience. She left the room, not storming out. No. That would have given her control of the moment. She walked away slowly. Hollow, like gravity had changed and she couldn't quite balance anymore. I sat back down. So anyway, I said to the stunned guests, we've got lemon chicken, roasted vegetables, and a lemon tart. Please eat. My sister was the first to recover. Well, I am starving, she said. God bless her. The rest followed. Slowly, quietly, like a church congregation after the preacher drops a bombshell. The night didn't go back to normal. It went somewhere better. It went honest. Later that night, after the last guest left, I sat in the kitchen, the sound of dishes clinking in the sink. She walked in behind me, arms crossed. You humiliated me, she said. No, I replied. You humiliated yourself. I just gave you the mirror. Tears welled. Not sadness. Rage. You're cruel, she whispered. No, Rebecca. Cruel would have been forwarding that video to your mother, your boss, and Jason's fiancé. Her mouth opened. Closed. That's right, I said. I know about her. Her knees almost gave out. I didn't do that. Yet. Because I'm not you. She didn't speak. I stood, grabbed my keys, and walked past her to the door. One more thing, I said. The prenup? It's void in the case of infidelity. And thanks to the recording? That's not a debate. It's documentation. I didn't slam the door behind me. I closed it softly, the way you'd close the lid on a coffin. You know how most homewreckers stay home once they realize they wrecked something? Not Jason. The man had the gall to text me. The morning after the dinner, no less. No subject. No punctuation. Just, let's talk. That was it. Like we were neighbors who'd gotten into a dispute over lawn boundaries. I didn't answer. I didn't have to. Because I already had plans for Jason. Not revenge exactly. Just consequences. Precision engineered and gift wrapped. See, here's the thing about Jason. He wasn't just Rebecca's side dish. He was a fiancé. With a fiancée named Lauren. I found her on LinkedIn 2 nights after the Zoom call. Her profile photo was framed like a Hallmark ad. Coffee in one hand, sun-drenched smile. Wearing an engagement ring that now looked like the world's most ironic accessory. And her bio? Marketing director. Believer in loyalty, coffee, and quiet mornings. Cute. So I messaged her. I kept it simple. Hi Lauren. I believe we have some overlapping interests. One of them is Jason. I'm attaching a video I think you'll want to see. It didn't take long. Within 20 minutes, she replied with, I need to talk to someone. Please, call me. I did. Her voice cracked on the first sentence. Is it real? I didn't soften it. Yes. Taken from my wife's laptop. Silence. Then, I thought I was paranoid. I'm sorry. I'm not. Her voice hardened. Thank you for telling me. I don't know what to do. I didn't either. But I figured out one thing, I said. People like Rebecca and Jason, they count on our silence. She exhaled slowly. Well, I guess it's time we speak up. 2 days later, I was walking out of my office building when I saw him. Jason, leaning against a red BMW like a guy trying to audition for a car commercial. He waved like we were college friends catching up. I didn't wave back. Hey, he said, stepping forward. Look, I know that video was bad, but I want to clear the air, man to man. I stopped, looked him up and down. Clear the air. Yeah, he said, hands in pockets. Things just got out of control, you know? No, I said. I don't know. Explain it to me like I'm a guy whose marriage you didn't crawl into. He had the nerve to smirk. Look, man, Rebecca came to me, not the other way around. I didn't chase her. She said you guys were basically roommates. I tilted my head. So, let me get this straight. You weren't the bad guy. You were the customer, and she just happened to be running a clearance sale? His smile faltered. She was lonely, he said, and I made her feel alive. And you, I said, stepping closer, made a massive mistake. He straightened. Is that a threat? No, just a prediction. He scoffed. Whatever, man. Lauren's not gonna believe some random video from your laptop. Oh, she already believed it, I said. About 36 hours ago. Canceled the venue. Moved out. Called your mom. His eyes widened. She wanted me to tell you something, by the way, I added. What? She said, and I quote, tell him he's not even good at lying. Or kissing. Or existing. He blinked. She said that. No, that part was mine, I said. But it felt like her, right? He turned and left without another word. No fists. No threats. No yelling in parking lots. Just one very exposed man in designer shoes who finally realized, you don't step into someone else's marriage and walk out clean. That night, Rebecca tried to play diplomat. She came downstairs holding an old photo album like it was a peace treaty. I thought maybe we could look at these, she said softly. I stared at her. You remember this trip? She asked, flipping to a picture of us in San Diego. We were happy. No, I said. You were rehearsing. She blinked. Excuse me. All those smiles, the laughs, the forehead kisses, those weren't memories. They were rehearsals for the performance you gave Jason. That's not fair. Neither is cheating, I said. But here we are. She snapped the album shut. I made a mistake. No, I said. A mistake is forgetting an anniversary. You ran a full double life with calendar invites and pet names. Her voice dropped. Do you really want to throw it all away over one affair? I let the silence answer her. She wiped a tear. I didn't think you'd ever do this. I thought you'd forgive me. That's the problem, I said. You were counting on who I used to be. 3 days later, she was gone. Took her things. Left the ring. No dramatic exit. No, we can still be friends. Just a note that said, I hope someday you'll understand. I do. I understand you perfectly now. And so there I was. Alone in the house. The echo of her footsteps still hanging in the walls. I stood in the bedroom. Looked at the spot where I left the laptop that day. The digital trap that caught a living, breathing lie. Then I smiled. Because the worst day of my life? It had become the most useful. People always talk about starting over like it's a Pinterest project. Paint a wall, buy some plants, post a caption about healing. Nah, starting over is raw. It's weird. It's waking up and realizing the silence in your house isn't peaceful. It's uninhabited. The air feels thinner. The fridge hums louder. Even your own footsteps sound like someone else is walking. Rebecca was gone. I didn't miss her. What I missed was the person I thought she was. And that guy I used to be, the man who believed her, trusted her, folded her socks while she told me I was too safe. Turns out, the whole time she was craving danger, I was building safety like it was a fortress. So after the fallout, I didn't go to therapy. I didn't take up pottery or yoga. You know what I did? I cleaned the house. Not just a spring scrub. I mean purged. Boxed every trace of her. The hair products that made the bathroom smell like eucalyptus lies. The wine glasses she said were too fancy for guests, but perfect for us. The framed photo of us in Lisbon, where she laughed like love was effortless. Gone. Her scent, her echo, her carefully curated presence. I erased it like chalk on pavement. And not in anger. In clarity. You know what else I cleaned? My inbox. Unsubscribed from the guilt. archived the excuses, flagged every digital receipt of betrayal as red and irrelevant. One afternoon, maybe 2 weeks later, I got a text from my buddy Owen. We hadn't talked much during the whole drama. He'd reached out once. I gave him the usual "I'm fine" lie, and he let it go. But now he just sent, "Want to swing a hammer this weekend? We're building a shed. Free pizza and blunt opinions included." I stared at it, thought about ignoring it. But then I thought, maybe that's the exact kind of noise I need right now. So I showed up. And for 8 hours, I held lumber and got roasted by Owen's cousin for wearing running shoes to a construction site. I hammered crooked nails. I got sunburned. I said maybe 20 words the whole day. But man, it felt good. There's something honest about manual work. No subtext. No secrets. Just tasks. Build this. Saw that. Laugh when you drop something on your foot. Later that evening, we cracked open beers and watched the sky change color behind the half-finished shed. Owen nodded toward me. "You good?" I thought about it. "Not good," I said, "but clean." He smiled. "That's something." Back at home, I started sleeping better. Not great, but better. The kind of sleep where you wake up in the same position you went down in. No tossing. No dreams. I stopped replaying her voice in my head. Stopped wondering what I did wrong. Because I finally understood. Some people cheat because they're empty, and others stay loyal because they're full. She was always hunting for something to fill the silence inside her. Me? I was trying to build a life where we didn't need noise to feel whole. Turns out, we were solving different problems. Just didn't know it at the time. One morning, while clearing out the guest room, I found something. An old notebook, tucked behind the bookshelf, forgotten. It wasn't hers. It was mine, from years ago. Notes from when I used to write stories, back before marriage bills and 401k. Buried the part of me that imagined things. Inside were half-baked plots, character sketches, a page titled "The Man Who Watched Everything Fall." I flipped through it, laughing at my own drama. But something in there stirred something I hadn't felt in a while. Agency. So that night, I sat down and opened a blank document. No outline. No title. Just typed. 10 minutes became 2 hours. I wrote about a man who catches a lie on Zoom. A man who doesn't crumble, but calculates. Not for therapy. Not for closure. Just because I could. I didn't need a publisher. I just needed a keyboard and a little bit of truth. A few weeks later, I ran into someone. Her name was Lila. She worked in a bookstore I ducked into while killing time before a haircut. I was scanning the nonfiction section, pretending not to exist, when I heard her behind the register mutter, "Well, that's one way to ruin a Tuesday." I turned. She held up a book cover. A memoir titled "My Husband Was My Sister's Husband First." I laughed. "You can't even make that up," I said. She looked at me. "Wanna bet?" That led to a 30-minute conversation about bad memoirs, good fiction, and why people post their breakups on social media like it's breaking news. She was sharp, witty, said things like, "Pain makes great fertilizer, but not if you just roll around in it." When I told her I was divorced, she didn't blink. Just said, "You're in the plot twist phase. That's a good one. The main character's usually better after it." We didn't flirt. We just talked. And that was more than enough. I don't know if anything will come of it. I'm not chasing love or rebound stories or rom-com moments. But I do know this. For the first time in months, I walked out of a room carrying nothing. Not shame. Not suspicion. Not someone else's lies. Just a receipt for a paperback and a feeling I hadn't felt in a long, long time. Lightness. A month after Rebecca left, I found myself staring at an empty Word doc again. Cursor blinking like it was daring me to say something real. So I started typing a letter. Not to her. Not for court. Just a letter. "Dear Rebecca, you always liked words. You weaponized them well. Sweet when they needed to be, vague when convenient, sharp when cornered. So here are mine. I don't hate you. That would take effort. And honestly, you don't deserve any more of my energy. I do pity you, though. You had loyalty wrapped in a cardigan who knew your coffee order and listened to your 2 a.m. rants about coworkers. And you traded it in for a man whose idea of depth was a protein shake and cologne that smelled like Jim Regrets. You didn't cheat because I lacked something. You cheated because you did. I was never the boring one. I was the consistent one. The steady one. The one you could count on until you didn't want to. But now, I don't miss you. I miss who I thought you were. And that version of you only existed in my head. You said you felt suffocated by predictability. Funny, now I'm breathing better than I have in years. So no, this isn't a love letter. And it's not an angry one either. It's just a full stop. Good luck convincing the next man that chaos is charm. M. I printed it, folded it, then I slid it into a drawer and never mailed it. Because some letters aren't written for closure. They're written so you never open that drawer again. Turns out, divorce makes you productive. 3 months after Rebecca left, I got promoted. Not because I suddenly turned into a corporate assassin, but because I had fewer distractions and more clarity. Funny how betrayal sharpens the senses. My boss called me in, handed me a folder. "You've been on fire lately," she said. "No," I replied, half smirking. "I've just been free." She laughed. "Whatever it is, keep doing it. More money, more responsibility, but the best part? I had weekends again. Not ones filled with passive-aggressive brunches and couples obligations, but mine. Silence, coffee, books, long drives to nowhere. One Saturday, I visited a cabin I hadn't seen since college. Just me, a notepad, and enough quiet to hear my own heartbeat. I wrote for hours. Not stories about betrayal, but ones about men rebuilding, without bitterness, without needing a villain in every chapter. At night, I sat on the porch with a fire going and thought, I don't want to get back to who I was. I want to become who I was supposed to be before all of that. 6 months out, the silence broke. Her name lit up on my phone. Rebecca, don't answer. I had renamed her that as a joke. A warning label. I figured she'd get the hint. Apparently not. The message said, "Hey, I heard about the promotion. I'm proud of you. You always worked hard. Hope you're well." No apology. No ownership. Just a breadcrumb of validation she hoped I'd chase. I didn't respond. She followed up. "Can we meet? Just to talk." That one I read twice. Then I smiled. Not because I was tempted, but because I wasn't. See, people like Rebecca don't want forgiveness. They want access. A way back into the warmth they left behind. I blocked the number. Because I realized something. She wasn't reaching out to reconnect. She was reaching out to make sure I hadn't moved on. And I had. Just not with a new woman. With a new version of myself. It had been almost a year. One morning, I packed the last box from that house. The one we bought together. The one we painted. Argued in. Fell asleep in. Fell apart in. I sold it. Not in a rage. Not out of spite. I just didn't need 3,000 square feet of echo anymore. I moved into a smaller place. Modern, minimal mine. No shared closets. No framed lies on the mantle. No memories duct taped to every room. Just space. And in that space, I filled my life back up. Owen and I started hiking every other weekend. I reconnected with an old mentor and gave a talk at a writing conference. I even published a short story about a man who discovered his wife's affair through Zoom. It got picked up by a small magazine. Nothing fancy, but it got emails. One of them said, "I read your story. I went through something similar. Thank you for writing the part no one talks about. How quiet the rage is, and how healing isn't loud either." That one stayed with me, because that's what this whole thing had become. Not revenge, not redemption, just quiet healing. Not loud, not cinematic, just real. And one day, maybe years from now, if someone asks me what happened with Rebecca, I'll probably say, she left. I stayed. Then I left too. Simple as that.